In today's video, I'm doing a review of the Shark AI Robot Self-Empty and also the Shark AI Robot VACMOP. So I'm going to be talking about the pros and cons and one mistake that I made that you should avoid when it comes to the VACMOP. But before I get to all that, I do want to say that this video is sponsored by Shark Home, and I want to say thank you to them for sending these devices out to me for this review. But I'll do my best to be objective and show you how these devices work, how to set them up, and the pros and cons of using them now for a couple of weeks. So what you're looking at right now is a time lapse of the Shark AI Robot Self-Empty. And the reason I started with this one is because when it was done, my family room carpet looked like this. And I remember just staring at it being like, I've never seen my carpet look this good before. And it reminded me of something. And you know what it reminded me of is sometimes you drive around the neighborhoods and you see some people's yards and you're like, how do their lawns look like that after they mow? Who is possibly spending that much time and effort to cross-hatch their lawns into this perfect design? That's what I felt like about my carpet, right? Because I personally won't even take the time to vacuum as much as I need to, let alone vacuum the carpet to this level of precision where it looks this good when it's done. So the devices themselves work great, but there are a couple things you should be aware of as you're getting set up with them. So why don't we switch back to the VACMOP and just do a quick unboxing here. I'm not big into unboxing videos, but the one thing I wanted to highlight is there's going to be a sticker on top of both devices. There's a QR code that you can scan, and when you scan that QR code, it's going to open up the SharkClean App. So I want to show you that app here on the App Store. Now the reason that I mention that is anytime you're using a device that is ran off an app, which both of these robot vacs are ran off the SharkClean app, you can go to the App Store and look at the reviews to see how well it does. And in this particular case, over 92,000 ratings on the App Store, and it has a 4.8 out of 5-star rating. It's very hard to game those reviews, so that's a really solid recommendation for these devices in general, because if the vacuum doesn't work well, people are going to go on here and leave a negative review. So why don't I record my screen on my iPhone so that you can see what I'm seeing here as I pull up the SharkClean app. Okay, so as I open it up here, what you can see right now is I have two different robots on here. There's the Mopping vac, which is actually the VACMOP, that's just what I call it, and the office vac. So right now I'm in my home office, which is all carpet. So that is where the AI Robot Self-Empty container is. Now, as we go through this, I just want to show you how this works for getting it set up. So if we go back and you take a look at the Mopping vac here, you can see my living room, kitchen, and dining room. Now, the way that this was mapped out is that when you get set up with your device, it's going to have you run through an exploratory phase where it may take an hour or so for it to kind of go around your house. And it's going to use its next-gen intelligence AI laser navigation. So this uses advanced LiDAR technology to actively scan the environment, ensuring total home coverage. Now, from the naked eye, every once in a while, I will see like a little laser kind of in there, but I can't really see it. But when I was filming it, you could actually see the lasers quite a bit more when it was getting set up. This is a really good job of just kind of giving you the map of your home. It asks if the map is correct. But I did make a couple of mistakes getting this set up with the VACMOP. The first mistake is when you're trying to do it, you can't have the fluid reservoir attached to the device. You need to make sure that that is off. And the next thing you're going to want to do is you're going to do a carpet detection. So it's very similar to the exploratory phase of getting the map of your home, except then it's going to go and look for carpets. Because what you can see on screen right now is the VACMOP going across my carpet, and that's because I didn't do the carpet detection phase. So I'm going to save you a headache there. Just make sure you do those back to back and really get a good mapped out area of your house. Now, one of the nice things too about getting this set up here, and what I'll do is I'll zoom in on different spots here. So like you can kind of see like this square up here, right? That is where there is a sofa in that room. You can kind of see how this space over here is a little bit blocked off and lighter. That's because I have a table over there. So the really nice thing about having this on your phone like this is, let's say I was in the kitchen and I had a mess in the kitchen. What you can do is click on rooms here, and then I can click on kitchen and then remove the living room. And then I can decide to do a clean or ultra clean that is targeted just to that room. So that's great if all of a sudden you have a spill, or maybe you just have an area that just needs cleaning up around the dining room table, because I have two little ones and they're always throwing stuff off the side of the table. So being able to select that and then be able to choose between clean and ultra clean is a nice feature. So what the ultra clean is, just like it sounds, it's just a more of a deep clean where the suction and the power that the device is using is going to be quite a bit higher. But do know that it automatically returns when the battery is low to the docking station to recharge. So that's kind of nice because I don't know about you, but like there's some things I don't like doing that take up a lot of power if it's like on my phone and it's draining my battery, because I'm like, I don't want to have to constantly be charging my phone. But in the case of these robot vacs, they just go right back to their base and they start charging again. You can also do something too that when you're doing the clean, I'm going to click it right now, and it's going to give you a couple different options here. So again, this is for the VACMOP. You can see that the flow level is either low, medium, or high. And then if you go high, you may need to refill your fluid reservoir often. And that is true because it's just going to be using quite a bit of fluids. But then the power level, the interesting thing is if you click on max, you can see here, you said your robot may need to charge more when power levels are increased. So what it'll do is it'll just run that thing until the battery is all the way down if you want to go on a max level and do an ultra clean. So a couple other things that I wanted to show you here is like a history. So you can see some of the cleans that I have done. Today is the 18th as of recording this. I think the 15th was one I wanted to show you right here. Yes, so this is the exact same VACMOP right here. So what we're looking at now is a coverage map of where it covered. So this is illuminating for a couple reasons. So you might be wondering like, well, what's with like this space down here if I can zoom in on it for you, like down in the middle? Well, what that is I actually have a step down into what I call my family room, and the lasers picked up on that area and put it onto the map, but that's actually not part of the cleaning area. Just the same is true to the left, where there's just kind of a little hallway in the left corner, and the upper left corner is the front doorway entrance into my home, again, a step down from the rest. Now, one thing I wanted to point out here too is that this did a really great job weaving in and out around the table. Now, I had to do the math, but there are 20 different legs on my table. You got 4 legs on the table and 4 chairs with 4 legs. So that's 20 legs that I had to weave through. But you can see as far as the areas that it was able to cover around the table there, that it was able to kind of weave in and out and clean the floor pretty well there. Now, as far as the VACMOP and its accessory goes, it comes with 3 cleaning pads, which is nice because, you know, these you can just take off and they're machine washable, and then you just put them back on. They kind of just attach with some Velcro on the bottom of it, which is pretty easy to use. The fluid reservoir, it does come with a small kind of more like, just to get you started, a couple fill-ups of the Shark Ninja fluid, and it does recommend that you use that fluid. I can't say whether or not that you can't use something else, but I usually just stick with those recommendations so that I feel confident that I'm using the correct materials for this particular device. But the one thing I'll say about that I think is a little bit of a negative is I wish the fluid reservoir hole to fill it was a little bit bigger or something. You may want to use a funnel or just be very slow when you're pouring the fluid into that reservoir, because it can take it can kind of bubble up because it's kind of soapy. So I wish that hole was a little bit bigger, but not a big deal in the grand scheme of things. Now, as far as the scrubbing, it uses something called sonic mopping, which is a term that Shark has, and you're kind of like, well, what does that mean? Basically 100 scrubs per minute. So if you were to use something like a Swiffer, which is what I was using before to clean the hardwoods, you're not really like getting 100 scrubs per minute. I'm kind of just like maybe pushing a little bit on a stain and just moving it around and just trying to pick up the dust. This device is actually scrubbing the floor 100 scrubs per minute. So if you're getting stuff like in my particular situation, my youngest will drop his yogurt pouch on the ground or something, and I get little yogurt drops that dry to the floor. It'll be able to go over those types of things and be able to clean that up. What you're looking at right now is a time lapse, again, of showing this being used where I rolled up the carpet. And the reason I decided to use this particular time lapse was underneath the carpet, I always get a bunch of dust and debris because I never sweep under there or never really do much under there. And you can see how satisfying it is watching this clean that up and just go row by row, length by length, and cleaning up all of that dust underneath the carpet. So the reason that I love these robot vacs is I love efficiency. I love anything that gives me more time back in my life. And as I've become a father of 2 young boys, all of a sudden I've seen my time diminish. So being able to do stuff like this and being able to clean in my own schedule is so much easier, where honestly, before I just didn't clean enough. Like I get the vacuum out once in a while and not enough kind of thing. So as far as the scheduling component of this, I do want to make mention of that as well. So why don't we take a look at the app again here? Okay, so I'm going to pick the evening. Really all that does is it just kind of, makes it a little bit quicker for you to get to your time, which in my opinion is really good attention to detail, right? They just make everything a little bit quicker and easier to use. And if I wanted to do this like after everyone's upstairs and ready to go to bed, maybe I'm going to do it 11 o'clock at night. Then you can see here that it automatically does a Monday through Friday clean. If you wanted to add a Saturday or Sunday in, you can, or remove, maybe a Tuesday, Thursday. Very easy to just adjust everything on here and be able to change it day by day. Now, this is going to be dependent on your situation and what works for you. In my particular case with 2 little ones, not to keep going back to that, but they make an incredible amount of mess. I don't actually like using the schedule because not every night do I want to sit there and pick up every single toy, every single crayon that maybe ran off the table or whatever before this thing cleans up. It is recommended that you clean up the area of where it's going to vacuum. Just like if you're using a regular vacuum, you wouldn't want to run over a crayon. The lasers on this device will be able to detect certain things, but it won't be able to detect everything. So it is important that you have the floors cleaned up. So what I like to do in my particular case is I'll just do a quick run through of the floors, make sure I get everything off, even if it's just throwing something up on the couch for the meantime and it's going back on the floor or something like that. And then I will schedule a time for this to run when it works for me and my family. So you should know too that this does sync up with Alexa and Google Home. I personally just haven't done it because I don't care. Like, it's cool for somebody else, but for me, the ability to just open up an app and do something like a spot clean, which I'll show you right now. Why don't I go over to the Office Vac, which again is the AI robot self-empty. And in this particular one, I can do a spot clean, okay? And then I can move this around and say, I want to do it in the family room. That gray area you're seeing there, that's the a big ottoman I have. And if I know that my son was eating chips right here, I can do an ultra clean and it'll send the device that quickly just from a few taps and be able to clean that. And I don't even have to be home to do this. I could be doing this from a different area because it's all working off the Wi-Fi in my house. But if you're a techie that really likes, using Google Home and Alexa to do these things, this is also an option as well. Now, I want to take a moment too to talk about the Shark AI Robot Self-Empty. So it has what's called a true HEPA self-empty base. Now, I had to look it up because I was like, what's HEPA stand for again? It's high efficiency particulate air. And this is the point of the video where I get to look like an idiot explaining stuff that I don't understand. But basically what it does is it's a type of air filter that can remove at least 99.97% of dust, pollen, mold, bacteria, and any airborne particles with a size of 0.3 microns. Now, I don't know how big a micron is, but it sounds pretty small. So the way that works is the canister actually has a nice kind of like viewing window in it so you can see how full it is, and it can last for up to 60 days before you have to empty it. So again, it kind of just speaks to the convenience that we want. The reason you're buying a type of vacuum such as this is you want convenience in your life. So if you are interested in purchasing either of these devices, it really depends on what your situation is. Do you have a lot of hardwood floors? Or are you mostly carpets? My particular situation, having 2 is actually really nice because they haven't developed one yet that can go downstairs as far as I know. So the AI Robot Self-Empty runs a couple of rooms for me that are carpet, and then the VACMOP runs 3 different rooms which are all hard surfaces, and it's really nice to be able to take the entire first floor of my house and be able to clean it that easily. So if you're interested in either of those devices, you can click links in the description below to get more information. All right, guys, thank you for using my link in the description below. And also YouTube is going to pop up a video right here that it thinks is a good fit for you to watch next. And I appreciate you watching this video and liking and commenting below. All right, guys, I hope you enjoy that next video.